Okay, let's do some mayo then. Mayo is awful stuff. The stuff you buy at the store. Hydrogenated oil, first ingredient. High fructose corn syrup, second ingredient. And you use it for everything, not just sandwiches, but you put it in potato salad and coleslaw and salad dressings. And I remember when I was growing up, the two things in my house that we went through like crazy. My parents would go to Costco and get the jug of mayo, like, you know, the huge jug of mayo and the huge jug of ketchup, and we'd just eat it on everything. And it's just horrible stuff for you. So I tried to figure out how to make a really yummy mayo. Now, when we were making mayo, the first time around, it didn't work out very well. It kind of turned out tasting like Miracle Whip, and we're just like, oh man, what are we going to do with this? And did you guys taste the tartar sauce? Oh, so that was the ruined mayo. So the cool thing about the cool thing about raw food and whole food preparation is it's really hard to mess it up. So the mayo didn't taste like mayo, but we're like, it tastes kind of like tartar sauce if you had a little pickles and onions in there. So the good news is that we have a yummy tartar sauce. The bad news is we ruined the mayo, but don't worry. What do you think about the tartar sauce? Pretty good. A lot of times, you know, when you have the Vitamix to make it all creamy, like you can't tell the difference between, you'd never know that it's not made with hydrogenated oil and, you know, it's not store-bought, except for it tastes a lot better. My friends would always tease me. Can't remember if I told you the story before, but I love going to restaurants and like tasting their food and then going home and trying to make the healthy version of that. Like, oh, that was so good, but I feel like crap now. So then I go home and try to make the healthy version of it. And so my friends would, every time my friends would come to my house, I'd be like, hey, taste this, all my crazy concoctions. And so my friends started calling it Cafe Janae, like, ooh, welcome to Cafe Janae, have a seat and, you know, have a cup of tea and some crazy concoctions that I just made. So mayonnaise was one of those things that I just wanted to, like, you just use it for everything. Last week in our salads class, we did like a potato salad and a coleslaw and a Waldorf salad, and you can't do that without mayo. So we did this. The other cool thing about mayo is you can make it into tartar sauce, add a little bit of chipotle pepper to it. You've got a really yummy chipotle mayo for a dip. When you add the mayo and the barbecue sauce together, fry sauce, and we made some of that last night, and that was to die for. It was really good. So you can really kind of mix and match all of these things. All the recipes are going to be in the book, but mix and match. And as you can see, it's quick, it's easy, it's fun, and it's really, really tasty. So what we're going to use for the base of our mayo, I also try to not use a lot of oils and fats. Now, instead of hydrogenated oil and vegetable oils, you can use coconut oil. That's like your best bet. As far as the healthiest oil you can get is raw virgin expeller pressed coconut oil or extra virgin olive oil. So I try to just stick to those two things. Olive oil, you can't cook with it because what happens, it's very heat sensitive, and once you cook with it, it ruins the molecular structure and actually becomes carcinogenic, which means it causes cancer. So you don't want to be cooking with olive oil, but if you're making salad dressings or things that aren't heated, olive oil is great. But I try to not use too much oil, especially I work with a lot of people with diabetes and heart disease, and the more fat and oil you're putting into your diet, the worse off you are if you're diabetic or suffering with heart disease. So I'm trying to find ways to make oily things without using a lot of oil. So usually with mayo, you make it with oil, and you fluff up the oil, and that's basically what it's made out of. But we're going to use a base of cashews. We've soaked these cashews overnight to make them nice and soft, to dissolve all the enzyme inhibitors, the phytic acid on the cashews. And what that does is it also increases the nutrient value. So cashews are really high in magnesium, have lots of other vitamins and minerals in the cashews, lots of good fiber. And so instead of lots of oil, we're actually putting a food in there. We are going to put a little bit of oil in here. I've got some cold pressed olive oil that we're just going to put in there. It's for flavor and a little bit of texture. A little tiny bit of Dijon mustard. And what that does is mayonnaise has eggs in it, and I don't know why, but the Dijon mustard kind of makes it taste a little bit eggy, so we don't have to put eggs in there. A little bit of apple cider vinegar, and a little bit of salt, and some lemon. Now, lemon is another thing that is an acid like vinegar, but it actually makes your body alkaline. Now, bacteria, viruses, pathogens, they have a hard time surviving in an alkaline environment, and so anything you can do to make your body more alkaline is going to protect you from disease and sickness and benefit your health. And it seems a little bit counterintuitive that something acid can make your body alkaline, but if it's citrus or raw apple cider vinegar, it actually has an alkalizing effect on your body, which is awesome. Now these are really cool. If you don't have one, I recommend it. Orson Gygi sells them here, and they have a whole bunch of different kinds, and this one with the little yellow top is my fave. So if you don't have one of those, I recommend it. They're not that expensive, and they make your lemon squeezing very easy. So here you go. This is for the mayo, and I also try to make everything vegan, so there's no eggs in there. Research tells us that if you have less than 5 to 10% of your daily calorie intake of animal products, that means dairy, meat, eggs, fish. So if you keep it down below 5% of your daily calorie intake, your risk of cancer and chronic illness, diabetes, heart disease, is down significantly. Anything above 10%, like even just like for every 1% above 10%, your risk for cancer and chronic illness goes up significantly. So it's not like if you go up 1%, your cancer risk raises 1%. I'm not exactly sure what the numbers are, but if you go up 1%, your cancer risk goes up 10%. It's something like that. Okay, so for every percent above 10% you go above, you're really doing your body a lot of damage and increasing your risk for cancer and chronic illness. So so what I teach is mostly vegan, mostly raw, and whole foods. So if you are going to use animal products, make sure that they're pasture raised, organic, raised raised out in the open, eating grass. This is for your eggs and your meat. Make sure they're not farm or factory raised. Then you're going to be getting the best animal products you can, but keeping your animal products down below 5% is your best bet for staying healthy. All right, let's do this. Okay, now mayonnaise is one of those that you've got to have a Vitamix for. I had somebody email me last week. They tried to make the Waldorf salad with the mayonnaise. They didn't have a Vitamix, so they just tried to do it in their food processor. She said that it turned out like cottage cheese on the broccoli. So the recipes work, but some of them definitely need the Vitamix to make sure it's creamy. I'm pounding it down because there's a little air bubble in there. That's why it's not blending. So for some of these things that need to be really creamy, if you try the recipe and you don't have a Vitamix and it doesn't turn out, that's probably why, just because you don't have enough speed to get it super creamy. Okay, another thing with the Vitamix, as you can tell, if you don't have enough stuff in there, like the blades won't catch it. So we just didn't want to make so much mayo that we're having 20 pounds of mayo in my fridge. so if you put a little bit, if you find that that's not working in your Vitamix, just for some Vitamix tips, sometimes you need to fill it up just a little bit more, and then this tamper really works to like get it down into the blades. So there you go. That was easy, right? Thank you.